Invest in your hair and in yourself today by ordering your I Am Melanin Magic products.
You want long locks,
luscious hair, radiant skin, want to look and feel good,
then I Am Melanin Magic is your brand.
I Am Melanin Magic,
and so are you.
If you are not using Melanin Magic hair oil, then what are you using?
Hi, I'm the creator of the I Am Melanin Magic skin and hair care brand. The I Am Melanin Magic hair oil is our premier product. It is the leading high-end supplement for your mane.
It reduces breakage and promotes growth and can be used on all hair types and looks, from straightened hair and microlocks to wigs and protective styles.
It's antifungal, antibacterial, and it's anti-funk, so you know you're protected.
It softens and conditions your hair, and it's anti-frizz too.
Hey guys, so I started using this oil called I Am Melanin Magic since February of this year, and check out the new growth. Like, it's insane. Not only did it help with my new growth, but it smells amazing too.
See the dramatic improvements Denisha has made after not having hair around her edges for 3 years. Tanya's hair had been like this for almost 20 years, and while getting injections. Her doctor said it was scarred and would never grow back. After 4 weeks of using I Am Melanin Magic, this is what she looked like. I Am Melanin Magic did this to Danette's hair after a short time.
This is really all your hair needs. It's rich with antioxidants, loaded with growth-promoting ingredients. Look at the growth of my hair. It's amazing. The product speaks for itself. Order yours today and don't delay. Don't delay, purchase yours today.
I Am Melanin Magic,
and so are you.
Welcome to Tanisha's Locks, Beauty Tips and Potpourri. I am Tanisha Ali, the owner of I Am Melanin Magic, and I am passionate about tiny locks, micro locks, sister locks, and I talk about things on this channel to help you develop the kind of skills that you need to develop as a wearer of these styles to protect the health of your hair and the longevity of the style. Yes, there are skills that you need to develop. This is not a passive hairstyle, contrary to what we think. Yes, it is a have beautiful hair every day and not have to be enslaved to hair tyranny like what you may be used to. But you can't just be a passive passer, standby type of person and expect to have a successful Sister Locks journey. So I talk about a lot of things on this channel. I don't come on here to just play around. You won't see me doing a lot with styling and all of that. I try to deal with the issues that either I have experience with, those that you all bring to me on this channel by way of communicating with me, texting me, sending me videos, and putting comments in the comment section, which, by the way, I implore you to do that. Please, I encourage you to place comments in the comment section. Let me know or let the audience know what it is you're experiencing on your journey. Contact me if there are things that you want to share with the greater audience, either just by audio, doesn't have to be visual, or if you want to do a Zoom interview, contact me. You may find that there's things that you want to speak about regarding your journey here on the channel, and if it's something that I feel is fruitful, I definitely would like to get in contact with you. Others of you will just send 2, 3, 4-minute videos, either to my WhatsApp, 678-438-6442, or you'll upload them as a Google Drive file, and you'll send me the link and I can download the file and place it in one of our videos. But I'm glad that you're here. For those of you who've been out here for the channel for some years now, even for those of you who are loyal to the message and have not been out here but maybe 3-4 months since you found the channel, I am humbled by your support of the channel, and I am grateful. And so in being humbled by it and being in a state of gratitude, it's my job to try to bring you quality information, not frivolous information that is based on my own experiences, either research done in the field or feedback from you. So that's why your feedback is so important. I'm glad that you're here today. We're talking about something that is becoming increasingly prevalent, which is hair loss and thinning. Now, I did a video that you can link to in the description, which is going to talk about some of the causes. I think I listed 21 or 22 causes of thinning, things that you need to be aware of. Make sure you link to that video. I am going to create a playlist that has to do with Microlocks, Sisterlocks, and Tiny Locks and thinning issues, so that you can find all of these kinds of conversations in that playlist. But it is an increasing problem, and it is my responsibility on the channel, as far as I'm concerned. I have delegated myself or nominated myself to speak about these things, because we need to talk about them. And while this style is beautiful and abundant, and I'm so grateful, namaste to Miss Joanne Cornwell. If we don't continue to evolve, however, and if we don't continue to find new ways to improve our services and products, then we run the risk of de-evolving or evolving out of usefulness. We are in a free enterprise system, and so we have many other innovative minds that are coming up with different grids, that also are having certain experiences and are developing things that they feel they want to put out here in the market. So I welcome you all as well to talk about this, because we live in an abundant universe. There's no shortage of anything, and I don't believe that there's competition. Competition doesn't exist. It's a man-made social construct. There's room for everyone. All right, so there's definitely room for constructive feedback and coming into the awareness that while this is a beautiful, abundant, lovely, fairly low maintenance hairstyle on a day-to-day basis, it is a style that comes with a certain amount of responsibility. And these are not the things that you're going to always hear from your loctician, which is why we have to raise the awareness, because we're on the front lines and we are grassroots. So as we begin to talk about these things, and as we begin to make them centerpieces of conversations, my hope is that at some point we will change the dynamic, or we will change the energy of the way locticians approach our hair, because ultimately we love them and we need them and we depend on them. All right. So today we're going to be talking about, I got a list of, I believe, 20 things. All right. These are solutions. All right. Some of these will apply to some of you who are just at the beginning stages of experiencing some type of hair loss or thinning, lock fall. Others of you may be trying to be proactive and ward off some of these difficulties. Some of you may have reached a point where your hair is not growing at all, and you have such significant scar tissue that your opportunities for rehabilitation may be somewhat reduced. But I'm one of those people that doesn't believe in giving up. I believe that the power of God is immense, and it's only limited to the extent that we are limited. So we have to keep striving to find solutions for some of the day-to-day problems that we experience, and that's why I'm here on this channel. If you haven't purchased my book, Manifesting Your Masterpiece, or subscribe to my Butterfly Transformations channel, make sure you do that. That book and the channel is for the purpose of helping you to clarify your life, up-level your mindset, clear and heal energetic blockages, so that you can manifest the glory of God that is you, that is within you. Okay, so it's about getting a larger slice of life. It's about doing the healing that you need to do so that you can be in a high vibrational place to attract the kinds of things and experiences into your life that enrich you rather than break you down. All right, so let's go ahead and dig in. The first thing is, one of the solutions has to do with your awareness. Don't assume that it is genetic or hormonal or some of these other conventional wisdom type excuses that you get. If you assume that, then you're not going to look for deeper causes. So that is a solution whether you realize it or not. Don't take for granted what you will likely be told by your loctician or some other professional is the reason. You know, male pattern, female pattern, hair balding, you've reached a certain age, and you know, da-da-dee-da-da-da, all of those things. Don't just automatically assume that that's going to be your issue, okay? Have a talk with your loctician and take immediate action. Having a talk with your loctician is not enough, okay? You need to take immediate action. If you are satisfied, and even if you are not satisfied with the feedback that you get, you need to come up with a plan. There should be a plan for intervention, okay? What is it that you can do to begin to address this? You want to try natural approaches first. Things that if it's not so far escalated, things that don't require getting shots in your head, taking chemical drugs and things of that nature. You want to try to avoid that as much as possible. You want to try to look for the kinds of interventions that are a little bit more natural and organic, okay? Which brings me to number 4. Address dietary issues first. Issues with regard to your water intake and hormone issues. You know, at least shed some light on those things. Get your diet together, all right? Because your diet is going to be important, all right? There's very little in this life that trumps anything that we can do with regard to healing that is not related to food, what we eat, and being aware of what our body likes and what our body doesn't like. A constant inflammation within your body can create problems with your hair. So let your food be thy medicine, all right? Stop repetitive styling, all right? Stop repetitive styling. We as women put our hands in our hair a lot. We have practices and rituals that we do to continue to be even more beautiful than the locks themselves allow us to, or give us access to, that cause us to suffer issues that men who carry this style or similar styles don't have as much, because they just let the hair be. The less that you have to manipulate the hair, the better. That's why you hear me say, I don't shampoo that often. I don't do retightenings on no obsessive schedule. All right, because for me, I speak for myself, not for you. You have to be critical in your analysis of the things that I say, because they reflect only my experience. That has not harmed me, and I've had my locks over 12 years. Okay, 10, 11, 12, 13 years. I need to get the numbers right. Sorry for that. But it has served me well. Now, will I and am I beginning to adjust some of my habits because my hair needs are different? Yeah, they're getting longer and longer and longer. So where I used to oil the entire length of my hair, I can't do that like I used to anymore. I can't put all the oil on it that caused my hair to really grow long, okay, at a fast rate. It made it super healthy, able to withstand multiple coloring treatments, picking of the length, pulling ends off, opening up my ends, and doing a whole lot of other stuff. Keeping it thick and healthy, clearing up my scalp issues, giving it a luster. I can't still do some of those things, so it's time to start making modifications. My hair is very long, and the back is down to my bottom, to the top of my butt in certain places. So I have to begin to pay more attention to how I treat my hair. I've got to lighten the load, right? Which is another reason why when I wash now, contrary to what I used to do, I have to really wash thoroughly. I have to wash multiple times. I need my hair to feel light after a wash. Didn't used to feel light. It used to bother my neck. It was heavy. Okay, all of those things. I had to change and shift our proprietary blend to a lighter oil that I feel will serve us well in the long run. So these are just some of the things, all right? The next thing, as I mentioned, which is I just talked about it briefly, which is number 5, is make sure that if you're putting products on your hair, if you're using oils, regardless of how light they are, that you wash thoroughly in between, or not in between, whenever you wash your hair. Just wash it thoroughly and restore your hair back to its lightness before you begin to apply new oil in between washes, okay? That's very important. Number 6 is decrease the thickness of the length of the lock, okay? As your hair gets longer, I'm not by any means suggesting that you do this early in your journey, but as your hair gets longer, there are probably a few locks in my hair that I'm going to do this with. I'm going to do a demonstration here on the channel. This is not for the faint of heart, and it's not for you if you are a part of the Sisterlocks Mafia, okay? I am just retightening these, and I got to get started with these here. You guys know I'm getting retightened in a few days, so I always retighten my own locks before I go in. But what I'm saying to you is that as the locks get longer and heavier, you may find that you have locks that are thicker towards the end, or they, just because of the way your hair did its individual thing, which each different lock developed differently, your lock may be even throughout, but it may be thick on the end, is creating extra weight. Your lock could be thinner up here. Maybe you experience some thinning and the bottom of the lock is heavier. You need to thin that out. If it's very thin, you need to just get rid of that part of the lock that's creating extra weight. All right, we have this thing sometimes that makes us fearful to cut the hair, but you rather do it now than have to do it later. All right, so consider opening up certain portions of your lock from the bottom up and thinning them out if they're too thick. All right, And that's also because if it's thicker than it is at the root, then pulling it through is going to create extra stress as well. Be willing to reattach locks as needed. If you happen to have lost a lot of your locks or you are losing locks, hold on to those locks and see if you can't find a way to reattach those locks once you've given your hair a period of rest. Let's say you're experiencing thinning in this area and you get to a point where you say, well, hell, I need to cut these up to here, or maybe I just need to take them out, or instead of taking them out, I just need to stop getting retightenings. All right, in this area for a while, my hair needs a break. Maybe as the locks start to grow out, I'll just twist them like this to kind of try to keep them separate, and I'll maintain them. Maybe I'll use some type of oil or something else. It's up to you. This channel is about thinking outside of the box and coming up with solutions. But let's say that you decide to do that, and at some point as the hair starts to grow back in, you get your locks put back in and you want to reattach those locks. Never throw those locks out, irregardless. You can actually sell them too to some people. Number 8 is may sound pretty drastic, but it is in fact a solution, and that's just to cut the locks off. Cut them off and restart. I've talked to several women who've had to cut the locks off and restart. Okay, and they have restarted their locks and their hair is thick and beautiful, which goes to show you it was not hormonal, it was not female patterned hair baldness. It had nothing to do with getting older, because most of the people in this demographic are my age and older. And some of you are in your late 30s and your 40s, but many people were seasoned at this stage of life. So if their hair grows back, then it's something to do with the style, and it means that you can mitigate this. And that's what this channel is about, doing what you can to delay what for some of you could be inevitable thinning and falling of your locks, to either delay it or to try to mitigate it and provide more support for your hair during this process. For some people, I'm not going to lie to you, for some people, you may get 10 years of hair wear out of this style, and you may find you're going to have to cut them off and start all over again. And that's fine as long as you're approaching this journey with that as a potential eventuality. It's a whole nother story when you approach this journey and think you're going to have these from the cradle to the grave, and then you start experiencing these problems, and then your hair loss gets so bad that you can't even do anything about it. And now you got patches of hair, you got issues where now you may be having to consider a hair transplant, which is actually not on my list. But because I know that that is possible, and let me add that real quick, because I know that that's possible, and because I saw a lady the other day when I went to the dentist who had hair transplant, okay? And she had hair transplanted on her eyebrows that was taken from her hair, and she said her eyebrows get very long, so she has to cut them. But it looked wonderful. It looked like, I just happened to look up at her eyebrows. I thought she had the micro shading like what I have. And my eyebrows are fundamentally thick, but I don't want to have to do anything to them every morning. So with this, I can maybe pluck my eyebrows maybe every, I don't know, once a month. I don't have to do much with them, and I wake up with the shape. But her eyebrows look like that, and that's why I was going to talk with her, and that's when she informed me. And so, you know, there are other people who have had hair transplanted, so that may be something that you have to consider. All right, the next thing I want to talk about, which is number 9, which is to just cut the length. All right, just cut the length. By me getting rid of the locks from here to there, I'm going to lighten the load on my hair. Okay, my hair is long. Yours is going to start to get long, and depending upon your individual needs, that may be a choice that you have to make. Rather cut the length first than to lose the whole lock, right? So you kind of have to weigh it. All right, next is change your loctician. Change your loctician if you've been going to that person for a long time. They've been in charge of your hair and you're experiencing hair issues. It means an innumerable number of things, or innumerable things, not the least of which that they've watched it happen and either have been silent or have not given you a plan to intervene, or they have a habit of doing bad reties. And a bad retie to me is not somebody that screws your grit up necessarily, although that's on the list, but it's at the bottom of the list. A bad retie to me is something that feels uncomfortable. It's tight. It hurts your head. You have to take Motrin for a few days. You got to put all this stuff in your hair. Your scalp is irritated. It's itching. You know, it's tight. That's a bad retie. That's severe abuse, hair abuse. It's trauma. And if you've been going to someone and you're losing locks and that's something you can relate to, it's time to switch to a new loctician. Number 11, start taking over your own reties, especially in traumatized areas or in areas where you can foresee or want to try and be proactive. Now, you all know I took over the retightenings of the front part of my hair. It's been like this for quite some time. I used to do it in the middle of my retightenings, okay? Now it's where I do it before my retightening. And I probably will continue to do that because these are tender areas. These are where my locks are the thinnest. These are where I actually had my locks separated so that they could be thin, so that they could all look the same way. And this is a high traffic area. It receives the most stress, even though you'll see me pull my hair back like this and it's not that tight. It's still receiving attention, okay? The front of your hair, when you wash your face, when you're in the shower, your shower cap, when you pull your shirt over your hair, this is the part of your hair that gets the most wear and tear. So you have to be gentle with it, right? So the next thing is to really, like I said, consider taking over your own reties, period, and it's not as insurmountable as you think. The next time that I get ready to start on a retightening, we're going to do a retightening Zoom where all of you who retighten your own hair or want to save a few locks to retighten can come in on Zoom. And as you know, when you're on Zoom and you're talking, your face is the face that Zoom videos. And so you can show us how you retighten, what you do, and give tips. We're going to be doing that. I'm going to schedule that probably after I get this retightening. I'm going to schedule it within 4 weeks. Shout out to NYX who suggested that. I think it's a wonderful idea because many of you need tips. We just need the camaraderie of doing it. It can be fun to give us a chance to talk and meet each other, but it also can be empowering for those of us who feel like it's not something that we can do, or we never really put our hands in our hair a lot, and so we don't really feel confident. It's something you need to seriously consider with this style. I'm just going to be honest with you, because finding a quality loctician can become difficult depending upon the market that you're in. There's some of you that have pricing issues, cost issues related to this style. There's others of you who've been through multiple locticians. Priscilla, who you saw the video for the henna, I interviewed her. She's been doing her own. She went through several locticians and lost a lot of locks. Some of you, a lady recently went from 520 something locks to something like 416 or some crazy number. She lost, maybe it was something where she lost upwards of 60 locks, or they were married kind of without her permission. So you have all types of issues out here that may warrant that. The next thing, number 12, is to take a break from retightens altogether. And this can sound crazy. Either take a break from them. If you're really experiencing serious loss in a particular area, if I'm experiencing a lot of thinning, you better believe I'm going to stop retightening in that area altogether. Okay? If I got 9, 10, 11, 12 locks in an area and you can start to see my scalp, I'm about to stop retightening altogether in that area. I'm going to cut those locks. I'm going to stop retightening. I'm going to let it grow out. I'm going to massage in my oils every single day. I'm going to regrow that hair, and then I'm going to decide what I want to do. After that, I'm not going to continue to get retightenings and apply stress to an area that I'm already having problems with. There are things that you can creatively do instead of getting the retightening that can help to preserve your hair. All right, so think outside the box. Remember, this is a solutions-oriented channel. We want to be able to understand that we're the masters of our hair health, and we have to be an active participant in our own rescue, all right? The next thing is to consider changing your pattern. I have a reverse 4. You've heard me talk about this before. It's the tightest pattern, okay? It was needed in the beginning of my journey to keep my locks from unraveling. Do I need it now? Probably not. Could it be possibly putting extra stress on my hair because of the compression? Probably so. I'm going to go to a reverse 3. I don't even know if there's such a thing as a reverse 3, but I'm going to be going to a reverse 3, especially in the area where I already do my hair. And maybe something that I will talk to Ifraj about and see what her thoughts are. I'm not at this point trying to change the direction. I've heard that the reversed is a tighter direction than the clockwise. I don't know. I'm still doing research in this area. If you have something to share, please comment. Number 14, combining your locks. And when you combine the locks or you marry the lock, after several retightenings or a few retightenings, get rid of the dragon head. There's no reason to have 2 locks pulling on the weight of the size of a root bed that you're trying to strengthen. You don't need that other lock. Clip it off and hold it for a later time. Stop using the extensions or make them lighter. Now, you know that with me trying to grow hair in these areas around here where my hair started growing, when I started using this, and this was an area of thinness that I had with my hair before I even got locks. If you were to look at some of my older pictures, when I would do like this, even though I had a head full of hair, it was always thinner in this area. I accepted that until about last year when I started using this and realizing that the hair was growing in. So I would start a little lock up here, and then I would add an extension to it or something that would allow it to stay so that I continue to retighten. If you are doing that for some reason, be mindful of the weight that you put on the hair. And as soon as the lock reaches a level where it can walk, you know, crawl, we must crawl before we can walk. As soon as it reaches a level where it can be kind of self-sustaining, take that extension out, okay? Or lighten the load of that extension, because extensions on these locks, depending upon the quality of what you're using, let's say the extension definitely needs to be human hair. It's breathable to some extent. Those kind of things are things that you want to keep in mind. The next thing is arresting the situation in the area where it's happening and taking drastic action. I kind of already talked about that, but if you notice it happening in a particular area, you have to take drastic action. And what does drastic action look like? Drastic action may be reducing or eliminating the reties. Drastic action may be cutting the hair or trimming it. Drastic action may be taking out your locks in that area. It could be detangling or taking out the lock and working with that hair and getting it healthy again. And I know those are, it's kind of like a spot treatment, and those are not like, aren't always the things that we want to think about. But we have to say, you know, we got to be willing to do what is the lesser of 2 evils. If you have to look down in your head and see 30 plaits right here that are little plaits that are not Sisterlocks, but they're starting to grow and you're starting to strengthen your hair, isn't that better? Isn't that better than having the lock loss start to move across your head because you're not willing to make changes? And I know this is difficult. God forbid I ever come to that particular point, because remember, like I said, we do not fully 100% remedy the risks, but we try to mitigate the risks that are realities with regard to this hairstyle. All right. The next thing is supplementing your hair. Oh, transitioning to traditional locks. Okay, so let's say as the hair is starting to grow out in a particular area, it's just a high stress area. This is just your Achilles heel. You let those locks grow out and you begin to just form traditional locks. Okay, you begin to twist that lock at the new growth, or you begin to palm roll and you transition to traditional locks. And then maybe there's at some point where you start combining your locks, and then you transition from Sisterlocks to more of something that is the size of a traditional lock that you begin to maintain a different way. Not that you have to palm roll. You can still use interlocking. But at this stage of the problem, your hair needs a bit of a break. And so by not retightening it, unless you're detangling it and manipulating it and applying oils and detanglers on a regular basis and trying to keep those hairs separately, they're going to kind of start to grow together. So it may be requiring you to just allow that new hair to lock and give it an opportunity to grow. Traditional locks are beautiful. That would be the next thing that I would go through. As Sophia's hair, Ronnie's hair continues to grow, it's getting more and more beautiful. And I think to myself, wow, I think I can do that. Like it's a badass look. That's all I can say. Supplementing your hair to build nutrition to build strength and to increase the integrity of your hair strand. Something that you do from the follicle to the tip. That means you got to put something in your diet. You got to take some supplements. You got to use something that is going to help to give your hair more elasticity, that's got some antioxidant value in it, that is going to help you to maintain moisture, that's going to help draw moisture into your hair. I say maintain because you have people that say, well, oils don't moisturize your hair, and technically maybe they don't, but if the oils have humectant properties, they do draw moisture into your hair. But to be politically correct, I'm going to say, let's say you wash your hair and it's damp. After you've let it air dry somewhat, then putting an oil on it can help to seal it in if you're dealing with particular dryness. But you're likely going to need to supplement your hair with something natural to build its integrity. It's no different than the way we have to fertilize the plant, right? This thing can grow in this soil for a long time, but eventually the soil is going to burn out. That's why we have to rotate crops, right? If we keep trying to plant this stuff in the same field, eventually that carrot is not going to have but 60 or 30% of its nutrition that it would have some years ago when we were doing a better job of rotating crops. Eventually the nutritional content of this soil is not going to be enough. Either I'm going to have to got a crystal in there. Either I'm going to have to add some Miracle Grow, or I'm going to have to add some new soil. I'm going to have to mix it up a bit. I'm going to have to repot it so that it can continue to thrive. It may sit here and stagnate. Eventually it's going to start to break down, but your hair is the same. For those of you who don't want to put oil in your hair, that's fine. Hopefully you will partake of the water-based moisturizer that I'm working on now, that hopefully will be ready by the spring. But at some point, you're going to have to do more for your hair than your hair is able to do on its own for the majority of us. Because if not, while you may have been able to go the first part of your journey without any oil, you're going to find yourself having to consider oil as the lesser of two evils. And I don't consider oil an evil at all, but if you consider it as something that you can't do, and you have a loctician who is from the Sisterlocks Mafia, that's a joke. Shout out to, I forget the sister who coined that term. But it may be something that you have to do rather than deal with hair loss and developing other issues that you may develop depending upon the climate that you live in, the quality of the water, the elements, and so many other things that, you know, start to change as we continue this style or as we also age. Okay, so you want to keep that in mind. Tend to problem locks early. Pay attention to what's going on with your hair. Pay attention to your locks. Inspect what you expect. And when you see locks that are struggling or that seem to be changing in a way that doesn't feel good to you intuitively, get on it right away. Don't wait. Listen to your intuition. All right. Have I gone through all of these? Yeah, I have. Listen to your intuition is number 20. If your intuition is telling you something is going on with your hair, you don't need anyone to validate that. You don't need anyone to validate that. You get to validate that. You get to make moves accordingly. It'd be nice if you could get the support of your loctician, the person that's been in charge with helping you to care for your hair. But I can promise you, y'all, I have seen too many women, ran into one way down here in the country not so long ago, and I sensed, based on the thinness of her locks, they were probably half the size of this. And this is one of my smaller locks. I loved the ones on the sides right here where my hair was thinner when I started my journey, because these locks were little and I wanted them all to look like this. Thank goodness I wasn't left to my own devices. I'd be sorry now, but it was half of this. And I could see she has had them for maybe over 20 years, but I sensed intuitively, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I sensed intuitively that under the cap, her hair was very thin. And that was why I asked her how frequent she had been getting her retightenings. And her response was every 6 weeks. But I've seen a lot of sisters who these continue to get thin as they continue to be in this process. They get longer, and you love the length, but they start to get thinner. And then when they start to thin out so much Like for everybody, it's not a lock falling. It's where you start to look like you've had a retightening every week. And then you're not quite sure if it's really thinning, right? Because this is a process, it's incremental, it's gradual. You don't always see it. It's like weight, you put on weight, right? You eat a little bit, you add a few pounds here and there, you don't really notice it, and then boom, boom, you wake up one morning, it's like, damn, I can't get in my pants. What the hell happened? You get on the scale, you're like, I'm 8 pounds. So it happens slowly over time, and it can be a bit of a test and trial to actually conclude that something is actually going on, because we tend to want to make excuses. And then if you're not taking pictures of an area, you can't fairly evaluate it. And then if you don't really have a good sense of what it looked like before, you can't really evaluate it either. So it can take some time for you to actually deduce, I'm actually losing my locks, and there's something that I need to really be paying attention to. So you've got to literally listen to your intuition when you feel that there's a problem and you start sensing that something looks different. This is where you stop, drop, and roll. I'm serious. This is when you really gotta start looking for, some other options. And then the last thing, number 21, is considering a hair transplant. A hair transplant may not be a good idea if you're going to continue with this style, but trying to get your hair back, for some of us who may have a high degree of scar tissue, may be a moot endeavor on some level. It may be because our hair is associated with our sense of virility, our sense of youth, our sense of beauty. It's connected to our health, our self-esteem. And I think in particular, not that white women don't go through this or other women, but our hair in our community has a different meaning for us for so many reasons that are a historical context. But nevertheless, when you are losing your hair, it's traumatic. It's traumatic, and it affects you at the most inner level of who you are and how you feel about yourself. It's traumatic. So in some cases, it may be a worthy endeavor for you to consider a hair transplant in a particular area. While it's expensive, it can be very uplifting. I met a lady who had her eyebrows transplanted. Some people that have certain types of alopecia will lose their entire eyebrows, and they will color them in. And some people find that if they just get a hair transplant, it looks just like their regular eyebrows, albeit they grow long and you have to cut them because I guess it's the hair that comes from a different part of your body. It's got a different hair growth cycle, but that's what she told me. I thought that was pretty interesting. Is that something in my hair? Piece of, what was that? So yeah, or maybe it's something behind me on one of those cards. But yeah, so considering a hair transplant is something you might want to delve into by researching hair restorative companies in your area. You're with Tanisha Ali, helping you to gain clarity and take charge over this journey and be an active participant in your own rescue. Thank you for sharing your time with me. For those of you who want to engage me further, click in the description. You get to the description today differently. You have to click the little 3 ellipses, those little 3 dots in the title, and that will bring about that drop down box which has all the contact information. I love you guys. I appreciate everything you do. You're the reason why I am out here. You all hold me accountable to providing quality information on this channel. Give me a shout out in the comments. Always try to listen to the video to the end. It helps the channel. It helps get us out here. Helps us to raise awareness. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, okay? I appreciate all that you do for the channel. I appreciate all that you have done in my life in terms of contributing to the richness of it. I've met some beautiful women from all over the world. You guys are like my soul tribe. I love y'all.
If you are not using I Am Melanin Magic hair oil, then what are you using?
Hey guys, so I started using this oil called I Am Melanin Magic since February of this year, and check out the new growth. Like, it's insane. Not only did it help with my new growth, but it smells amazing too.
See the dramatic improvements Tanisha has made after not having hair around her edges for 3 years. Tanya's hair had been like this for almost 20 years, and while getting injections. Her doctor said it was scarred and would never grow back. After 4 weeks of using I Am Melanin Magic, this is what she looked like. I Am Melanin Magic did this to Danette's hair after a short time.
Hi, I'm the creator of the I Am Melanin Magic hair and skincare brand. My vision has always been to develop a line of products that meets the unique needs of melanated people. The I Am Melanin Magic hair oil is our premier product. It is the leading high-end supplement for your mane.
It reduces breakage, promotes growth, and can be used on all hair types and looks, from straightened hair and microlocks to wigs and protective styles.
It's antifungal, antibacterial, and anti-funk, so you know you're protected.
It softens and conditions your hair, and it's anti-frizz too.
This really is all you need. It's rich with antioxidants, loaded with growth-promoting ingredients. Look at the growth of my hair. The proof is in the product. Need I say more? Don't delay. Purchase yours today.
I am Melanin Magic, and so are you.